Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
Getting reports from traffic/weather guy Kenny Olson that it's raining outside and the temperature dropped 10 degrees, but it's still steamier now. Is that right?
Yeah, he said it is hot and wet.
So I called the pool guy today because we had the
we got to get the update
in the pool and we got to get the new liner.
Yep.
So I called him today and it's been a week now, and I said, right. How come? Are you sure it's the liner now that's damaged?
Right. At this point, you want to know because
are you sure? If you rip that out, we can't put a new one in until we make sure that that's what it is.
Right.
And I said, it's not losing any water now lately. And he said, that's because we patched the liner about 4 to 5 days ago, and you were supposed to know that. And you could put water in and be splashing around in it.
Can I ask a question about your story? Was there a little miscommunication?
I think it could have been on my end. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think that I assumed that they hadn't been over and done it yet. By the time I called and said, just forget it. He said, well, you can't forget it because you might have so much water leak down in there it would ruin the base
foundation.
Of the pool. So we had to patch it, he said.
Okay, so now...
But in other words, I could have just, with this 90 degrees coming up, just filled it up again and had it available for this weekend, which I'll do when I get home tonight.
Okay, so with the patch, though, you're not rolling the dice with the patch. You got to...
Not permanently.
Okay.
If this was a 7-year-old liner,
yep, and
they usually have 7 or 8 years in them, I'd do that. But this is a brand new one. I put it in last year, so I cannot. We put it in last spring, so with a 1-year-old liner, I'm not going to let it be patched, and then a year from now say, that don't work. We need the new one.
Got it. And now when it's 90 degrees, you need that pool time.
Yes, the need.
It's almost essential now, right?
I don't need it, but the nieces and the grandkids might. The grandkids haven't been over yet, so.
Well, that 94 degrees is going to change that.
All right,
They're going to bring my family over.
I had breakfast yesterday with the great Jay Pivick, the former coach of Minneapolis Community College basketball, had been Johnny Towers' assistant for 5 years. Yep. He's retiring as a basketball coach.
Okay.
Although this is about as firm a retirement as one of mine. But anyway, there's never a bad reason to not sit down and talk with Pivick, who's one of the great storytellers of all time. So he's a big buddy of Eric Curry. You know Eric Curry.
Sure, yeah, I know well.
In fact, Pivick was the best man at Eric's wedding.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they're big pals. And they would occasionally have a cocktail at J.D. Hoyt's.
Okay.
Downtown gathering.
Love that place.
Downtown gathering spot.
We're due for a visit, aren't we?
Yes.
Downtown gathering spot for males, who want to go out and have a good time.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, of
Great
course.
spot. Love it there.
And Norwood Teague, big fan of
Hoyt's.
Big fan of Hoyt's. And Norwood, I know he had a few issues and he ran out of here.
Just a few little issues.
Yeah, well, he was a whiskey will do things to a guy. But he was living downtown, and he was a man about town.
Yeah.
Mark Coyle was, for all we know,
Haven't seen him out once.
I saw him at the Gopher baseball game. I was shocked. So you don't see much of him. Norwood was a man about town, easy to recognize with that bald head, and the whole deal. But he had, like everybody, we all have a guy in our life who is a friend of ours, and we can't really explain why. Right?
Right.
Me, it was Darky. Right? I mean, he was goofy.
Right. You were just.
I felt as close to him as a brother. I have no idea why.
Right.
But
You just had the chemistry. You have the chemistry, or you don't.
Well, Norwood apparently had a buddy that he met when he was working at Arizona State. I think it was Arizona State, maybe Arizona, as an assistant, named the Colonel. Okay. The Colonel was an ex-Marine officer who was about 5 foot tall.
All right.
Little skinny guy with a large mouth on him.
Got it.
Very strident in his views of America. He wouldn't have supported Colin Kaepernick. Let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah.
He would. He was.
Got it.
He was
I think I can see through all that now.
And the Colonel apparently was one of these guys who would come for a visit in the summer, and there was nothing you could do to keep him away. The Colonel would come for a visit.
He had his mind made up.
And Norwood had his two right-hand men, Dave Benedict and Mike, the basketball guy, Mike Ellis were his two guys. And Norwood would shuffle this guy off. He could take him for about 4 or 5 days, and then he'd shuffle him off, and they kept moving the Colonel around.
You went to different station, friend stations.
The Colonel would get into Hoyt's and get full of liquor and see something that offended him. And apparently one night there was a bartender in there who had a ponytail.
Okay.
And the Colonel threatened, questioned his patriotism, his masculinity.
Got it.
His
everything about him.
Everything about him. To the point the bartender finally threatened to throw the Colonel out on the nape of his neck. And the Colonel apparently managed to get banned from Hoyt's for being so obnoxious on each of his visits, which became increasingly more obnoxious.
Oh, boy.
So, of course, Pat, who runs Hoyt's, you know Pat.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the opportunity to call up and tell him that I met this guy downtown, the Colonel, and he wants to. He said he hasn't been to Hoyt's, and is it okay if I bring him to Hoyt's for some pork chops or something? The Colonel, but Norwood had the Colonel apparently as his guy. There was stuff going on there before the little flap at that Norwood had that ran.
Colonel didn't have any part of that.
No, the Colonel was not in on that, but the Colonel. I guess if you were one of the people involved in getting rid of Norwood, you wouldn't want to run into the Colonel because he might get mouthy and belligerent. But anyway, they were both Mr. Curry and Pivick told me they happened to be in there a couple of nights when the Colonel was in there. They were both telling me Colonel stories.
I'll have to find out from Eric some of those when I see him next.
The Colonel.
So the Colonel's asking you to get him unblocked. From Hoyt's.
Right. Even though I've never met the Colonel and don't know, I just want to. That would just be to agitate Pat.
Right.
But you gotta be an obnoxious guy to get thrown out of the Hoyt because Pat will come over and come on now, calm down.
Settle it down.
Calm down here.
And the bartender with the ponytail's probably got some thick skin, but probably was like, all right, you've worn me down here.
After a while.
When did that joint open up, Patrick? Because I moved to town.
It's gotta be 20 years.
Well, no, J.D. Hoyt's.
20 at least.
I moved into town in like 84, and I would go across the street.
Oh, was it still there?
Eat soup for lunch there.
At Hoyt's?
Yeah.
They're not open for lunch anymore, but they will give you a pork chop, that's for sure. Mikey Andrews, started it. Mike, that was one of Mike's joints. So
I'm trying to find a year. They do not have a year listed on their website.
Those chops are good.
I was back there for the Curry threw a Jack Morris Hall of Fame little reception back there, and That's the last time I was in there. But I didn't know about the colonel then. Otherwise, I would have mentioned
one of our
mentioned
office mates was down there last night for some sort of big extravaganza, and she went away unable to move. She was so full.
Well, the sad thing is that there was a time when I was full appetite, full figured. I could go for 2 chops. No more. You can't do 2 chops.
They're the size of a Frisbee.
I know.
It's like the Fred Flintstone Brontosaurus thing that's on the side of the car.
Apparently, the pork chops were as large as the Colonel, but did not have the mouth of the Colonel.
I think the last time I was there, I had the New York strip steak, and it was fabulous.
Just love that place.
The Colonel was Norwood. They were telling me Colonel stories, and I was cackling to say the least. Pivek's. I've talked to Pivek for an hour and a half, and I wrote a kind of a long column. I could have written a novel. He's writing a book, by the way, called I Have a Guy, which is if you're a junior college coach or a coach in the hinterlands of basketball, somebody's always got a guy for somebody, a fan, a coach, a high school coach, a guy who watches high school. They're always calling up saying, I have a guy.
Yeah, I
have a guy for you who can play. And Pivek used to take those guys. Pivek used to call me once every winter and say, I have a column for you. I got a column for you. And I'd say, what jail did this guy go to? And half the time I was right. So, but he got a lot of kids on the straight and narrow over there in 20 years. I'll tell you that. He still teaches over there. He teaches life-saving techniques they got a law enforcement class, and he's a professor of.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, saving guy. The first year he was there, Oak Park Heights. He teach the fellas. He said he was trying to explain to the inmates that what he was going to teach them there, and he says, for instance, if one of the guard collapses, you want to give them.
What's your first
and
move?
These guys, he said, they all looked at him and said, we aren't saving them.
No, they're going to spectate.
We aren't.
We might make a call, but we're not going to.
We'll call 911, but we're not. We're not.
They'll watch him. Watch the Lord call him home.
All right, we'll be back.
Ready now?
Yeah, we can just play our music today without the know-it-all telling us what's going on here.
Speaking of Mr. FYI, I am way smarter than you. He likes to criticize each and every one of us for the amount of vacation we take, but are you starting to get the feeling that he has more than all of us?
Yes, I am. Not even starting. I already have that
It's like
feeling.
once every 2 weeks he's gone for a day or two.
But
Yes,
I'm much more comfortable when he takes off Fridays or Mondays than these random Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
It makes
out
sense.
Of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah, those Tuesdays don't make any sense.
What the hell are you
Whoever
doing
wanted
on a Tuesday
off?
What kind of nefarious shenanigans are you up to on a Tuesday?
That's right. You're sitting on the garage practicing your guitar as though someone's going to come and discover you.
The new Bob Dylan.
60.
The senior tour.
That's right. Boy, what a day for Cristiano Ronaldo. He worked out a deal with the Spanish tax authorities. They were going to send him to jail for tax evasion.
Okay, he wasn't paying
He
his
got
taxes.
it out. He's got to come up with $21.8 million to satisfy the tax case. But at least he doesn't have to go to jail, huh? He's pork, and he didn't have if he'd been a Spanish superstar, it would have been a problem. But it's a good thing he settled that dispute with Spanish authorities because he's from Portugal.
Right, right.
Good thing he settled it today or yesterday, because today he scored 3 goals against Spain to tie them 3-3 in the World Cup. They would have tried to arrest him and put him in jail before the next game. All right.
He was sliding all over the field.
You got to see the replay of the 3rd goal he scored, the tire.
Okay.
They got the line out in front, right?
Yep.
Whatever the hell they call it. Whenever free kick.
Yeah.
But the guys stand in front of you, and they usually cover their privates
Right,
because they don't want to get kicked in the privates.
Right.
And
who does?
And then they can
Right.
jump, And he's kicking it, and he kicks it all the way out around the line and brings her back in, and the goalie doesn't even move. He doesn't have a chance. Hits that part of the net. Unbelievable.
What, like a soccer boomerang?
No, it was a slider. It was a baseball slider in softball. In soccer. It was incredible. And tied it and made, because Manny, when I back was turned on the golf and turned on soccer. So
I'm trying to track it down.
Yeah, well, it was just about a half hour ago, so it might not be up there yet.
Ronaldo's third-minute goal versus...
No, that was the third-minute one. The one that scored in the 80-something minute is the one that tied it. It's incredible.
Okay.
And not only that, as I pointed out on Twitter, not only did he get out of the tax case without going to jail and score 3 goals today, but he still has that statue.
That one. That shows the current conditions.
With the manhood.
These are the current conditions.
That's him?
With the amazing manhood. And
the one that's hanging in our office?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
It's the size of my leg.
Rook, you could probably find the goal if you look up Fox Soccer on Twitter.
I think if
they have the footage of the goal.
He's like a tripod.
I think he was overseeing the bronzing of it. A little more there. Huh?
He got a spoon and handed him some more material.
The gals will like this if we make it a little more prominent.
They went to lunch and he fixed things.
Yeah, it's the most egotistical statue ever been constructed. That's for sure.
Whichever one that says "take a bow." That's the one.
Got it. Okay,
that's the one. There.
Yeah.
You talking about the statue again?
No.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, show it to Kenny.
He just sailed it right over.
Watch the replay when they show how it just curved like right around the.
He can't slide like that guy on yesterday's commercial. Just sliding all over.
Look, he kicks the ball over there and brings her all the way back. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was basically like Pat said. It was a breaking ball. It was a slider.
Yep. 3. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, we got it.
3-3. Spain's Portugal.
It's a knuckleball.
They're both. No, it's a quick slider. It's fast. He kicked the hell out of it. Pretty amazing.
So what happens now with that group?
It's just a tie, and they're the 2 favorites to advance. 2 out of each of the 8 groups advance. So
okay.
So what you do is play round robin, which is 3 games in the group, and then 2 advance, and then you have the knockout round. After that, it becomes single elimination, starting with 16. So.
And what happened to the U.S.? Are we?
We're waiting for the next time around. We got eliminated after our loss to Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, yes. I missed that one, but that's too bad.
Down in the mud. You didn't know they weren't playing, huh?
I did not know they weren't playing. I don't follow it as closely as I'm a United guy.
I don't
United
follow
FC.
it terribly closely either, but I knew they got beat.
You knew they got knocked out.
I don't even know if you're talking about golf or tennis.
All right, Bob Davis. What was the one with Bob Davis?
It was golf or tennis.
I was talking about
the Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup, and he said, "Is this soccer or something like that?"
Are we talking about soccer or tennis?
Yeah, I always enjoyed those because I really felt like I was instructing somebody in the very basics of sports.
My favorite Bob Davis was somebody called and he took the call, and like every other call before him, the caller said, "How you doing, Bob?" And Bob went off on him. "Stop asking me how I'm doing. I hate that. You're driving me crazy with that." And I'm off here just applauding. "Oh, Bob, thank you. I love you."
Very, very disappointed the world didn't end on the millennium after traveling all over the world to get in 6 last months before the world ended, and then nothing happened.
That was beautiful.
It was, what a beauty.
What a great guy.
Is he still in town?
Yeah, but he travels around.
He got a podcast?
Yeah, he does it out of the back of an old retired ambulance and travels around the United States.
Really?
Yeah, him and Mishke know how to do it, man. They're living the life.
Is it just the Bob Davis podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Mishke will head down to Tennessee, drive by a guy that's on his front porch,
pull in and
talk to him for 45 minutes.
He's got the equipment with him at all times.
Yeah. It's the people they meet.
Is there any money to be made in this?
You have to be ambitious.
You pay your pool to bills?
You've got to go out and get your own sales. That's the problem. Yeah, me neither.
All right, we better see what happened.
Speaking of sales,
guy. Yes.
Sports Talk will return right now. Bruce Vail with the Your Money Now report comes to us courtesy of Owatonna's own Federated Insurance. And this is your last report. You're taking a couple days off?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, I'll be away from the office. By the way, the U.S. soccer team was so bad this year that Trinidad didn't even need Tobago. Just half the guys showed up to beat them this year.
All right.
We have new concerns about a U.S. trade war with China, and that sent stocks lower to close out the week. The losses were trimmed quite a bit late in the trading session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 200 points. Early today, it ended up losing 84 points, closing at 25,090. The Nasdaq Composite lost 14 points. The S&P 500 fell 3. China will impose tariffs on 545 U.S. products starting July 6th, including farm and automobile products and seafood, after the Trump administration announced tariffs on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods. Kellogg has launched a recall of Honey Smack cereal after federal health regulators link that cereal to salmonella-related illnesses reported in several states. Kellogg said it is investigating the issue with its third-party manufacturer that makes that cereal. Kellogg said it will give refunds to people who bought Honey Smacks. I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
Okay, Bruce, have a nice couple days off. We'll talk to you next week sometime. Your traffic here sponsored by Hotels.com. Let's talk about the outbound crowd. West 94 from the Fish Lake Split up to Rogers, 15 minutes, and expect a stout rejam through Monticello. It's due to a new lane configuration. 2 lanes open there, but it's a bit confusing. Northbound I-35 backed up, barely moving between Rush City and Pine City, and northbound 101, pretty bad. County 36 over the Mississippi to Highway 10. With Hotels.com, get rewarded from seaside cabins to resorts. Free closed between the crosstown and downtown. Southbound 35W will be shut down between 94 and 46th Street. All of this starts at 10 p.m. today, runs through 5 a.m. on Monday morning. And when it reopens Monday morning, we're going to have lane restrictions in place for both directions between 43rd and downtown. And westbound 94, this is very important, westbound 94 down to 2 lanes between Portland and Nicollet. I mentioned that westbound 94 project up in Monticello. It's still 2 lanes through there, but it's screwed up configuration, so it's really jammed right now, but 2 lanes are open. I thought that was a 60-second ramp.
You didn't hit the post.
About 46.
No, I think
Portland and Nicollet. Portland and Nicollet. Where's that?
I think it's 60, and you screwed up right downtown Minneapolis.
Okay, all right, because there's not an exit for either of them.
No, and it's
they're taking that. Have they taken that out yet?
There's 3 or 4 lanes on westbound. I think it's 4 lanes, isn't it, of westbound 94 through the downtown Commons, and starting next week it's going to be 2. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, the jackasses won't let me get through Theodore, get to Theodore Wirth to cut over to Plymouth. It's
why?
They coordinate everything to make sure that it's impossible to go in one direction. MnDOT, they're evil guys.
Well, if it's off the freeway, it's not MnDOT's fault.
Yeah, but they call up and they get together and say, we're closing this road. They call up City of Minneapolis and say, we're closing this road, so what can you do to screw up people even worse?
How can you help
You're
us
saying
out?
They're all getting together like the Axis powers.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And plotting against the Allies.
Like attacking the boot of Italy. You know. What do you got there, Chris Reavers?
Twins start the first of a 3-game series against the Tribe in Cleveland tonight. Twins begin this series 6 games back of first place Cleveland.
Kluber's terrified.
Joe Mauer is set to return after his most recent DL stint. Yesterday, of course, the Twins sent down outfielder Jake Cave to Rochester, and the big news, sending Miguel Sano to Single-A Fort Myers. Twins are 12-19 away from Target Field and have not won a series on the road since May 8th in St. Louis. Kyle Gibson will start opposite Indians ace right-hander Corey Kluber.
First pitch Kyle, tonight. 12 starts without a win?
Yeah, he's been really good this year.
Certain to be 13 tonight. Because, listen, if you give them 0 through 7 innings, Kyle, you can have a tie. So you'll be lucky.
The second round of the 118th U.S. Open is going on right now. Dustin Johnson started the day tied with 3 others for the lead at 1 under par. He finished at 4 under par, the only golfer under. Ian Poulter, Scott Piercy, and Justin Rose are all tied for second at even. It's not looking good for Tiger, boys. He finished the day at 10 over, and the projected cut line has now moved. Initially, it was at 9 over. Now the projected cut is at 8 over par.
So he's back on his yacht heading south right now.
Probably.
Yeah. Or does he stay just for the hell of it?
No, he's that yacht.
You think he's anchors up?
No, the yacht is actually about 45 minutes away. Yeah, he took that up there. How's the weather out there? I heard this morning.
Fine so far.
Yeah, the wind died. Wind died down, not as bad as yesterday, but it died down a little bit.
All right.
By the way, they just FS1 Tim Brando just popped on because they must have switched to Channel 9.
Yep.
For their coverage. Did I ever tell you guys he fell asleep on my shoulder one night? We're flying back from some
gross.
I know. We're in the back. We're in the back of a completely full plane. I'm on the aisle. We're next to the toilet, and Tim Brando, ESPN. Why isn't he flying up front?
Right.
Yeah.
Is sitting in the middle seat. He goes.
Oh.
You know, if
did you pat his head like
he blew in his ear?
It's never cool when somebody falls asleep on you that you don't have a chance with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, you can always,
I didn't think about that for a while.
Yes. My brother was about a 10-year-old, and he fell asleep on some old lady at church, and my old man's like, get up, and she's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm like, that's brilliant. He fell asleep. Here's your World Cup scoreboard, by the way. We all know yesterday Russia beat Saudi Arabia 5-0. Today, as Patrick mentioned, Portugal and Spain, is it a draw? What do we call it?
They don't like each other. Yeah, it's a draw.
A draw, 3-3 draw. Uruguay beat Egypt 1-0, and Iran beat Morocco 1-0. Those are your three.
Oh no, I
today.
can't. I still got a hard time rooting for Iran. Yeah, I still got a hard time.
That whole Shaw thing.
Yeah, that whole deal.
Ayatollah.
No, I was a Shaw guy. I was a big Shaw supporter.
We were against the Ayatollah.
Yeah, I like the Shaw. He had discipline.
Well, they had him in
misunderstood.
I thought they had him in.
He had the U.S. wife, right? The Shaw had the U.S. wife.
Yeah.
News notes from today.
They wore jeans back then.
Jeans and skirts. Yeah. Plunging necklines.
They didn't know. All those Iranian students who were over here protesting against the Shah didn't know what they were getting themselves into.
Right.
President Donald Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, is going to jail. Today, Manafort was ordered into custody after a federal judge revoked his house arrest, citing newly filed obstruction of justice charges. The move by U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson made Manafort the first Trump campaign official to be jailed as part of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Already under intense pressure to cooperate with prosecutors in hopes of securing leniency, Manafort now loses the relative freedom he enjoyed while he prepared for 2 criminal trials in which he faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison.
He was supposedly contacting witnesses. Is that it?
Yeah.
Had people contacting witnesses.
In her ruling, Jackson said that she had struggled with the decision, but she couldn't turn a blind eye to his conduct. She says, quote, "You have abused the trust placed in you 6 months ago."
Wait till the Donald pardons him in advance. That's going to be a beauty.
At least 3 dozen Minnesotans have become ill from 2 unrelated outbreaks of cyclosporiasis, which is caused by a parasite found on some imported fresh produce.
Gross.
One outbreak has been traced to the Sorona Grill in Minneapolis, where 17 patrons became ill after eating there in mid-May.
That's why I never eat salad, Patrick.
Yeah, I know.
The second outbreak stems from veggie trays sold at Quick Trip convenience stores in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So far, 20 people have been sickened in Minnesota after buying the products at stores across the state. The company has removed the products from its shelves. The infection is caused by eating produce that is contaminated with fecal matter. It is not spread from person to person.
But it's not human fecal matter. It's something sneaking in there. And
that's what you say.
It's cricket poop or something.
Yeah, get out of there.
How do you know? I don't know, but it's not.
I think it's the people working out in the field.
Here's the deal. I'm a big fan of Quick Trip.
I love Quick Trip.
I never buy a salad in there, okay?
Well, this was a veggie tray.
Well,
I don't think you'd buy one of those.
Same thing to me and Royce.
Very
what
overrated.
aisle are your veggie trays, please?
The National...
I'm going to a party.
And where's the dip?
You'll buy one of those little $1 trays and throw it on the table when you walk in.
What's the point? Veggie trays.
Oh, the wife, she loves the veggie trays.
Sure,
That's a one thing. Yeah.
She runs too.
Yeah,
what is wrong with that woman?
Well, and she also married me. That's
Got a
just
hat
3
trick.
straight.
I was going to say she married you. She runs and she likes veggie trays.
What's wrong with
Those
you?
poor kids got no chance.
The National
They're
Weather
gonna be healthy eaters.
The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for the Twin Cities metro area, the start of a weekend that could also deliver heavy rain and severe weather. Heat index expected to reach near 100 degrees prompted today's advisory, which is in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. The advisory comes with the admonition for people to stay out of the sun, drink plenty of fluids, and of course, if you're working outside, to take breaks in air-conditioned rooms.
West Central Minnesota is just going to get socked this weekend
lots of rain.
by rain and thunderstorms and steam and everything else.
I'm worried about the few young remaining pheasants we have in Minnesota because they've had gigantic rains in southwest Minnesota.
They're doing good in my neighborhood. Yeah, the locals aren't shooting them yet.
Okay, well, that's good. You're not supposed to do that till October.
A roller coaster that derailed in Florida had been put out of service twice in the past 2 years by state inspectors because of mechanical problems with the ride. Have you guys seen the photos from this?
I don't think I want
but
to.
I will never go on that even after they fix it.
2 riders fell 34 feet when their car derailed last night and was left dangling from the track. Firefighters used ladders to pull 8 others to safety high above the Daytona Beach boardwalk. The front car, which was holding 4 passengers, completely came off the tracks, said Daytona Beach Fire spokeswoman Sasha Staton. The 2 riders who fell from the Sand Blaster ride suffered traumatic injuries. Of 9 passengers taken to the hospital, all but 2 were discharged by this afternoon. A month before the derailment, a state inspector had found problems with the ride and the roller coaster was ordered to be taken out of service. State inspection reports released to the Associated Press today show that an inspector last month found excessive corrosion, a damaged seat, and a crack inside the frameworks of the track. Those problems, though, were corrected by the time of the follow-up inspection yesterday, according to the reports.
Yeah.
Excessive corrosion. I don't like that.
How do you fix excessive corrosion?
I don't think
you start over. You cut it out and put a new piece in.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's another thing I don't have to worry about. being grievously injured on a roller coaster.
What is it so far? Radon? Secondhand smoke?
Lead paint. Lead-based paint.
Wearing a
It's not
seatbelt?
problem.
No, that's another thing.
No. Guys got to have some bad habits. All right, we'll be back. Wow, my week has just been made. My feel-good Friday thought for the day.
Uh-oh.
I got called a shite bird by LeVar Ball on Twitter, responding to my Heimlich Kaepernick column.
Okay.
He obviously didn't read it because that comparing the two, I'm comparing the reactions of the 2 leagues to these 2 guys, not comparing a guy.
The 2 guys to each other.
Not comparing a guy who at 15 molested his 6-year-old niece and a guy who kneels down. I'm comparing the leagues, blacklisting both of them. But obviously, LeVar saw the headline. But I have been called a bleep bird by LeVar Ball.
Congratulations, sir. That's worthy of applause right there.
Damn good. That's right. And, of course, if I'm getting called a bleep bird by him, I'm getting called it by an expert.
Yes, you are. 2 assistant principals at a Maryland high school have been placed on paid leave after they were accused of drinking at the school's prom. Prince George's County Public Schools spokesman John White said the allegations against Christopher Burrows and Patricia Duffy are being investigated. The Northwestern High School assistant principals were chaperones at the school's May 18th prom. The school's principal, Carlene Murray, is also on paid leave following the prom. White says she hasn't been accused of drinking, but that she's on leave for a completely separate matter.
Oh, yeah. You don't need to worry about it. I'll just tell you later.
Something that also happened at the prom, perhaps?
The Washington Post quotes White as saying Thursday that he can't provide any more information on her case specifically.
Interesting.
According to a new survey, more than 1 in 10 Americans have done the business at their business of work.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A new study
With
of
someone else?
Yeah,
or,
you just asked my question.
I knew you were going to ask that.
Well, yeah, there's.
Does that matter, Patrick? No, at our age it doesn't
There's
matter.
complications involved if it requires 2 people.
There's a reason there's a lock on that broom closet.
It's just really too bad Joe isn't here right now. I would want to see doing the business. What business? You're here at work. I'm here to do work.
I'd rather bleep.
A new study of 2,000 people found that 14% of those polled have actually had sex at their place of work. And the risky respondents didn't always get away with it. Of those who had sex at work, 1 in 5 have been caught in the act.
That's because once you've gotten away with it, you continue to do it until you get caught.
You get more bold.
Yes.
The new survey
Don't ask me how I know.
The new survey looked at when work and romance interlink and found that while some have done the deed at their place of work, as many as 44% of Americans have had a full-fledged workplace romance. Crushing on coworkers is complicated, and it's often a bad idea, but the results of the study unveiled many positives. An office romance can be great for company morale, as 92% of those who've had one reported that it made them more excited to come to work. It can also be great for business, with over half of those who've had an office romance saying it actually made them more productive while they were at work.
That's why I'm mean to virtually every single one of my coworkers. I'm just trying to prevent them from coming on to me.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
They can't resist.
A Belgian couple visiting Florida had a scary surprise during their engagement on Sunday. In the photos posted by Gatorland in Orlando, Sam Van Reeth can be seen proposing to his now fiancée, Shauna Vranken, with a swarm of alligators looming in the background. A friend of mine told me Gatorland was a one-of-a-kind experience, and we do love animals and absolutely loved it, he told local television, adding that they hope to incorporate the reptile into their wedding or honeymoon as well. Savannah Bone, crocodile enrichment coordinator at Gatorland Orlando, told the TV outlet that she hopes the couple will consider allowing the theme park to host their special day. So amazing to see the act of love against our beautiful tapestry of nature, she said. Congrats to you both, Gatorland Orlando wrote on Facebook.
It kind of seems like a threatening proposal, doesn't it?
Yeah, do this or else.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you will say you slipped, honey.
Authorities say a 48-year-old Florida man raised a can of beer and chugged it after a sheriff's deputy stopped him on suspicion of drunken driving.
May as well, huh?
Yes.
I'm not drunk yet, but I'm almost there. Hang on.
Daryl Royal Rydell told Monroe County Sheriff's investigators that he was scared when he fled in his pickup truck as Deputy Anthony Lopez stepped out of his patrol car yesterday. Rydell drove for a short distance before stopping. Rydell has 3 prior DUI convictions between 2003 and 2010, and a 4th that is pending from 2017. The report says Rydell got out of his truck, beer can in his hand, and chugged it. He faces numerous charges, including felony DUI, fleeing from a deputy, driving with a suspended license.
Florida's supposed to be very tough on DWI. I wonder how this guy's still roaming around.
Keep him in jail.
Well,
for
he doesn't
a while.
have a license. That was the last
no,
part.
Royce's point. Why is he still roaming
why is he not in
around?
jail?
Yeah, keep him in.
Well, the 4th one's pending.
Yes.
Videotape. We talked about this earlier, but have you guys seen the video that was taken by a man in Commerce City, Colorado, capturing a pair of portable toilets being lifted up into the air by a strong wind?
That's amazing. And do you see the spray coming out of them? Oh, my goodness.
And the people trying to avoid it.
Oh, it's raining bleep.
The clip posted onto a man's Facebook page features residents at the park enjoying a sunny day out until a sudden gust of wind begins to ravage their outdoor fun and party tent. The portable toilets are seen being carried across the sidewalk.
They go straight up in the air, Patrick.
It's like the Wizard of Oz house landing on the witch.
It is. It's exactly like that.
Then they both slammed into parked cars before one takes off into the sky. As Kenny mentioned, fluids from the portable toilet also appear to leak out its contents in its upward journey before it eventually crashes back down.
Is it raining? No.
Right about now is when those porta potties that you have at athletic fields and stuff around, you get a little 100 degrees in the middle of middle
Those
of
things are-
June. That's when they get a little ripe.
They're about
For the rest-
180
And for
inside.
about the rest of winter, she gets a little ripe.
ripe.
And they always leave the seat up, so that's what you're greeted with when you walk in. Oh, jeez.
You really have to really want to do your business.
Nobody was seriously injured. by the
It's
way.
got to be an emergency.
Yes, it does.
Like you say, don't leave home without taking care of that. Just stay home till it's done.
That's right. And even if you stop at a gas station, you don't really feel the urge. Do it anyway.
Do it
Like
anyway.
little
Right.
kids.
Beat the pressure.
Don't forget
All
the
right.
wife.
We'll be back. All righty, we're going to have a caller in here at 5 o'clock, and we'll talk about the Vikings unveiling the new facility today. The interview room was named in honor of Sid Hartman.
Nice.
As I tweeted out, a source told me it was a very close vote of the Wilf family. Sid had 2.5 votes, I had 2, and Paul Allen had 1/2. But that's just, I'm not sure if that's
Right.
source is-
We didn't. Ernst and Young didn't check it out.
No, we did not actually see the ballots. Okay, that's just our speculation.
Right.
That's what we heard from a source. And also, we have lots of. We got some sad news and some good news and all kinds of conversation in the first hour, and then we'll have caller breaking down the Vikings minicamp and all that good stuff in the second hour.
So beat the heat with the ride and let it cool you down.
Yes,
Huh?
it's and we have a musical guest that will be unveiled shortly, and she is fantastic.
All right. Well,
I can't give it away though.
no, don't give it away. I wish you best of luck with the pool. Patched liner.
Good. That's good. She's patched. We'll have a new one. Well, I think we got a lot of gallons to put in there when I get home tonight.
And the water bill.
Yes.
1500 ESPN is KSTP St. Paul, Minneapolis. It is 94 degrees, a little bit muggy out. Find yourself some water, and the ride is coming up next.